Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at a deck I've been really meaning to revive since rotations hit, and that is Ethan's Ho-Oh EX paired with Raging Bolt EX. This is a fun archetype that I took a look at a long time ago, and obviously with rotation, I've been really meaning to get around to, taking this deck out again and see what I can do with it. And honestly, I've really been enjoying this list. I don't think it's as obviously good as the Teal Mass version for obvious reasons. Yes, we get an extra energy into play, but we don't actually draw any cards for doing it. But we do actually gain Fire-type coverage, which is something that Raging Bolt can definitely use given all the Teal Mass running around right now. So as per usual, in the description below, there's the usual links. There will be the deck list, which is also available to go up in the description below. There's the games that we'll play, and of course the outro and what I think of the deck. There's also a link to my Discord server, as per normal. So of course, the whole point of this deck is we're playing Ethan's Ho-Oh EX with Raging Bolt EX. The idea is we use Golden Flame to put 2 fire energy cards onto our Ethan's Ho-Ohs, because, well, that's the only target in this deck. And then, of course, we can discard the energies, we can keep them on if we need to use Shining Feathers for 160 in a Grass Wheat matchup, because, believe it or not, this can actually take out Arbor, which is actually a pretty good thing. That's a pretty nice thing to have. It's relatively bulky for a basic, but obviously against things like Teal Mass Ogerpon, that's not going to matter because of the 4 fire energy costs to make it attack. But don't worry, we don't have to use Ethan's Ho-Oh in that instance. Playing Fire Energy means we get to play a Moltres in this list, which is something that Raging Bolt doesn't normally do. We're playing 7 Fire in this list, so we have a lot of choice when it came to, Fire-type coverage, and, well, Moltres is just the easiest fit. Not only is it an extra Crispin target for, having Fire Energy in the list, but also, we can use a single prize Moltres in, some games, and that is going to be pretty handy to have. Of course, we don't just have that, we do have Wellspring in here. Wellspring is in here not just for, its torrential pump attack, but to also enable part of our strategy, but we'll get to that in a moment. We also have Cornerstone in here, and also Lillie's Clefairy. Cornerstone is in here for the exact same reason that the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon is, and that is to enable Area 0. Whilst testing this deck, I noticed that the bench space was very cluttered. And obviously with the A-spec that we're running, which is Precious Trolley today, I was struggling for bench space, and obviously you want at least 1 to 2 Ethan's Ho-Oh, you obviously want a Raging Bolt, you probably want Latias as well, so the bench space does get a bit cluttered. So I thought the Cornerstone approach, which we did play a Cornerstone in the previous list, that I did, but we never played Wellspring, but I think it's a pretty good fit. Obviously, we do have double Latias, and since Bolt is our primary attacker, we are playing 3 copies of it, because, well, we kind of have to. It's our primary attacker. We don't really have a good single prizer for dealing with other single prizes, but obviously we can use, Wellspring to uptrade in that instance, so we do have at least something against them. And of course, it wouldn't be a Bolt list without a Bloodmoon, a Kang, and of course, Meowths. But honestly, this list has been really fun to play, and I'm really surprised it's been working so well. Obviously, we did lose the likes of Superior Energy Retrieval, which made this card even better. But even with just standard Energy Retrieval, it's not a big problem at all. Anywho, let's get into the deck list, and let's have a proper look. And welcome to the deck list. This has been a really fun deck list to test, and I know I say that on probably a lot of my videos lately. But honestly, it's nice to revisit this deck list, because this is one of the first deck lists that, I definitively remember I took the idea from someone, credited them in the video description, and I've always had this deck on the back of my mind because, obviously, it's one of the first decks that I actually borrowed from another channel. And, well, here we are today, bringing it back for round 2, essentially. Obviously, the same principle is pretty much here, but obviously we are playing a few extra cards to obviously assist us. So obviously, as I said, we're playing Area 0 to expand our bench. We do have 2 Terrors in the list. Obviously, you may want more than 2 Terrors, maybe a second Wellspring or a second Cornerstone. But obviously, it's quite hard to get these guys powered up if you're not, using Energy Switch. Because obviously, we don't really have room in this list for an ends plan. I mean, you could probably fit one, but, you're getting rid of the likes of Energy Switch, which you grab with Petrel. You're getting rid of the likes of Glass Trumpet. End's plan would be okay in here. It's just more of, it's not really what I'd recommend in this list, because a lot of the time, the energy you're going to be moving is fire energy, which, yeah, Wellspring, Cornerstone, Kang, Meowth, Bloodmoon, they can all use it. but Bolt can't. Yes, you can obviously, you know, go double fire if you've already got 2 fire on an even Toho and go from there, but I think for now I'll leave End's plan out of this list and play Firebreather instead, because let's be real, getting to, you know, attach 4 energy just using your Ho-Ohs and then a 5th if you've already got Fighting and Lightning on a Bolt is pretty insane, and it's been really fun to have this card and test him. So of course we're playing 3 Raging Bolts, 2 Even Toho-Ohs, 2 Latias, 2 Meowths, 2 Mega Kangaskhan, 1 Fez, 1 Bloodmoon, 1 Clefairy, 1 Wellspring, 1 Cornerstone, and 1 Moltres. Then of course we have 4 Crispin, 2 Boss, 2 Lillies, 1 Petrel, 1 Firebreather, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Energy Retrieval, 2 Night Stretchers, 2 Energy Switch, I'm slipping my words today, it's because my caffeine's not kicked in yet, 1 Precious Trolley as our A-Spec to obviously grab all the big boys that we need, because pretty much our entire deck bar 1 is in the EX Pokemon. There is obviously room for the likes of, you know, Serrano and things like that, because obviously most of your, you know, Pokemon are EXs bar 1. The problem is I don't really know where to fit it. Having Lillies in the list is just really good to have, you know, as extra draw. And obviously we don't really want to be cutting Fire Breather and, you know, the things like that. You could maybe cut the Power Glass, but there's a good reason why this is in the deck list, but we'll get to that in a moment. Then obviously we do have Energy Search, Glass Trumpet as well. Obviously we do play colourless Pokemon as part of, you know, the engine per se. And well, it'd be stupid not to play at least 1 copy of this, because, well, we basically get free energy back into play. Now of course the only downside is we need a Terra down, but that's not too major to be fair. You know, 99% of the time we're probably going to want Wellspring down anyway. Cornerstone is purely here just to enable the Terra approach, but obviously it's a good wall if we do happen to run into the likes of Pokemon that struggle with dealing with Cornerstone, so hopefully we can make use of that. Then of course we do have the Power Glass. This was more of a late addition, and it's more for the bolts. Obviously you can put it on the likes of Wellspring if you have energy in the discard pile, but the whole idea of this is, well, to put it simply, we get extra energy back. So instead of, you know, we discard, let's say, Fighting from the Bolt, couple of Fires, maybe an energy from the Meowth if we use Glass Trumpet, we then get one of those energies back completely for free. And if we're taking out the opponent's main attacker and they don't really have anything, we get an extra energy back for free. So it's helping with our resource management. So it just made sense to keep it in the list. But it is definitely a cuttable card, you know. It's not like it's a necessary card, so to speak. Then of course we have 3 Area 0, 7 Fire, 3 Fighting, 3 Lightning, 1 Psychic, and 1 Water Energy. We are playing a lot of energy here, you know, 15 energy is quite a lot, but to be fair I've seen Boltless with more. I was reading Limitless the night before today, and I saw a Boltless with 22 energy. It had 15 Grass, so was it 13 Grass or 15 Grass, I can't remember. No, it was 12. It was playing 12 Grass, 5 Lightning, 5 Fighting. It was absolutely bonkers. And it won a City League of all things, but probably never going to do that thing as a video because that would just be energy in hand central, but still. Honestly though, I don't think a huge amount needs to change for this list. A Serrano would be nice, but obviously, you know, we need to make room for that, and obviously I don't really want to be cutting Lillies or Firebreather. An End's plan could be considered, but I don't think you need it per se, because obviously we do have double Energy Switch in the list. And obviously Wellspring, you can attack with it multiple times, but obviously you need to use Energy Switch plus Crispin to do that. So it is something to think about. Anywho, let's get into a match and see how we do. And welcome to our first game. We're paired up against someone in 256 rank. Obviously, I know the ladder has reset a long time ago, but because of obviously personal commitments and obviously the tournament that I did with the Creators Cook-Off, I'm just getting myself in advance like I usually would. And plus, you know, I'm putting more time into this channel, I might as well get some more done in advance. Do I want to go first? You know what? Let's go first. Why not? This deck doesn't mind going first. It's more of a go second deck, but it doesn't mind. Ugh! Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's really bad. And it's Grimmsnarl as well. We do not want to start a Fez. Well, there's a Ho-Oh we can bench. That's good. We can get some golden... Well, I'm not going to call it what the YouTuber that I saw a video on this deck recently called it. He called it Golden Shit or Golden Rain. I'll let you think about that for a moment. But yeah, this is definitely like a really interesting, you know, like archetype to work with. But hopefully we can, you know, we can give some Grimmsnarls a fun time. Obviously, the only things we need to be careful of is obviously we have a lot of Pokemon with abilities. They're grabbing a Frostlass already. You've not even got anything down. Now you will, but you know, sequencing. I don't know. Okay, are you gonna Corkscrew Punch? No, you're gonna go into Tatsugiri. Okay, well if I top deck Crispin, I'm sniping that with Fez. I don't care what anyone says. That was a very strange turn. And they're not even playing the Lillies? Nah, this guy's sus. But anyway, let's play the Lillies. Ooh, if only we got an energy, we would have been able to snipe with a Fez. That would have been beautiful. We can go into Kang. That could be an option. We could go into Kang. We can grab ourselves a Kang using Moltres and the second Latias as discard fodder. We can go to a Kang, which is a risk in this matchup, but I need the extra draw. And I could also bench a Bolt. So we'll go into the Kang, run over for 2. Double Energy Switch would be nice. No, but we do get Energy Search. I don't really need to use this now. I could just wait. Pass. Obviously, Kang is quite the liability in this matchup, but hopefully, if they're going to play like this, I'm not worried. And I don't mean that in a rude way towards my opponent. But just in general, I don't feel like they're very confident with their deck. Yes, they're a decent rank on the ladder. But surely, instead of grabbing Tatsugiri, you'd have used the Tatsugiri and then played the Lillies. Because you did not support her last turn. Why are you playing Petrel? This guy, I don't know if he knows what he's doing. Like, yeah, a good board setup is important. I'm not gonna deny that, but you know, you still need the consistency. Like, I was close to getting Fez off there. You know, I could have sniped this Impidimp. It's something to consider. You know, and like I said, I don't mean that in a rude way towards my opponent. I'm just meaning in general. But anyway, let's see what we get. There's another Bolt. So we're going to run over for 2. There's an Ultra Ball, so we can play that. I kind of want to play this Meowth down, but the problem is that I'm not really using the Meowth, so to speak. So I'm going to get rid of a Meowth, and I'm going to get rid of Energy Search, because we're going to be playing Crispin, most likely. I'm going to grab my Wellspring, because we can get a Wellspring off this turn. And that would be ideal, because I can take out Tatsu plus the Frostlass, which is what I want to do. So we'll play the Crispin, and, well, Joe would nearly be punished then, because he didn't price check his water energy. But it is fine. Plus, it means we can put the Psychic back in the deck from the Fez, so... As much as I'm sure you'd love to see a Cruel Arrow, it is better to Wellspring here. So we'll do that, and then we'll Torrential Pump for 100, and I will take out the Frostlass. Not worried about the Impidimps, I can blow these up with a Bolt, so I'd rather take 2 prizes on the more important stuff. And there we go. Nice, easy 2 prizes. And there's our Glass Trumpet out of the prize cards. I didn't prize check the water, that could have been bad, but I'd have attacked the Fez instead, it's fine. But, yeah. So now they're actually playing the Lillies and they're getting the Fez down. This guy, I don't know if he knows what he's doing, because he's been making some really unusual actions. I mean, that's not a bad thing, but still. Okay, there's a Spitefmurf. He's got a Spitefmurf. That probably means he has Candy in hand. No. Okay. He's going to get another Buddy Poffin down. Evolve the bench. Okay. And a pass. Okay. I mean, that is still, you know, he's still doing everything right. So that's at least something. So we'll do that. I'll attach to Bolt. And I'll Lillies. I could sob him, but he's probably just going to evolve this. So with that as my hand at the minute, I will just pass. I don't need to sob this because the thing is that, yes, I could obviously Petrel for a second energy switch and then obviously, you know, Wellspring again. But it's like, I don't know, because realistically, they're just going to start doing what they're doing now. They're going to evolve the active, so even if I'd have sobbed it, it wouldn't have mattered. They're going to evolve it to Grimmsnarl now. Like I say, even if they come up with this guy, I just blow it up with Bolt. I don't really care, to be brutally honest. So they can thin some energy out now, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to retreat the Morgrim, or they can keep the air balloon on it. That's perfectly acceptable. So they can do that. Have they support for turn? I don't think they have. No, they haven't. So they're going to boss probably the Latias. Take 2 prizes here. Or if they want to be weird, they can hit the Ho-Oh, but I don't think that's relevant. And yeah, they're going to take out the Latias. They're going to Shadow Bullet for the knockout. And hit 30 on the Fez. That is fine, my friend. Because this Grimmsnarl is about to get nuked. Unfortunately, unlike the days of MW2, and I don't mean the modern one, we do not need to worry. I'm going to play Pressure Trolley here, just thin it. We do not need to worry about getting a 25 kill streak. If you don't get what I'm on about, don't worry about it. I'm old. I remember that game to a T. So we've only got Latias. Well, both copies of Latias in there now, but that's fine. So we'll Fez for 3 first. I could Petrel, but it's like, I don't need to per se. So we'll go Golden Flame to do that. Attach to the Bolt. I'll then Petrel. Do we have our Power Glass? We do. I'm going to take this. I could grab Area 0 and, like, you know, expand our bench a bit more, but I don't really need to. And then we'll Bellowing Thunder. We'll discard 3 off the Ho-Oh. So that's 210, 280. We've got Fighting in hand, haven't we? So yeah, I'm just going to do both off the Bolt, because we'll get one of them back. And yeah, we'll just take out the Grimmsnarl. Pretty happy with that. They have to respond, so I'm pretty fine with that. And obviously, at turn's end, we get to attach the Lightning. So we get a free energy back. Obviously, if he does take out the Fez this turn, it's not a big deal. But then we just, you know, nuke him with, you know, the likes of Bolt and stuff like that. We could even grab Firebreather out of the deck if we wanted to. It wouldn't really do as much, but we did have a few fires left at the very least. It's nice to see that this variant can still put up a fight, though. That's kind of what I expected, because, you know, you're turboing energy into play a lot quicker than the Teal Mass version. Ooh! I was gonna say, if you didn't have that, that would be horrible for you. So there's Secret Box away Psyduck, Dark, and Lilies. They're probably gonna grab a boss. At least, yep, they're grabbing a boss. They're probably gonna go for the Fez. But then you just lose. Because I can Night Stretch this Fez back. He's definitely going for the Fez. He's going for the Kang. Okay, yeah, I see that. I see that. You know, he's trying to, you know, take multiple prizes. I see that. And he's going to Shadow Bullet for 180. That's fine, actually. As long as we can find, you know, our Area 0. And we've got most of the copies in deck, I believe. Alright, well, let's run over for 2. See if we can get a stadium. And there we go. So then we, once again, we Night Stretch back that Latias. So now his trapping play was, he did a good play there. I'll admit my opponent did a good play there, but that's why we play the Area 0 package. So how much more do we need? We don't need a lot, so we just need the Crispin. We'll go you and you. We had lightning on the Bolt, didn't we? Yes, we did. So then we do that, and attach to the Bolt just so we have the knockout, and there we go. That is a concession. My opponent did do a good play there, but you can kind of see why I've chucked in the Area 0 package, because we would have probably lost that game if we didn't have that. And that's sort of what my approach was, you know. I didn't want to give us a disadvantage by not having stadiums, because I could have played the likes of Jamming Tower, but that's like boring, and obviously it bites us with our Power Glasses. I could obviously play, you know, Team Rocket's Watchtower, but then we're using Kang, we're using Meowth as, you know, consistency. So again, that bites us in the backside. So I just thought Area 0 plus a couple of Terrors would do the trick, and clearly it does. So let's go to a game 2. And after that match, we actually hit level 69. Nice. That's what we like to see. Pretty pretty good game there against the Grimmsnarl matchup. Obviously, we did have the Area Zeros and the Wellspring established. And that's sort of why you just need a Terror down. Even if you're not going to use it in the matchup, you just grant yourself 3 extra bench spaces. Which, as we saw in that instance, I was able to go for the Latias, Golden Flame, you know, things like that. I was able to just set up my board, and I wasn't particularly worried. Although with this start, I bloody am, that's for sure. And we're going second. I mean, I could start Baron and obviously get Meowth, but then, you know, it's a hard one. Like, I'd rather start the Meowth because I can at least retreat the Meowth. And, well, looks like we're not using Trolley, so that's already off to a good start now, isn't it? It's actually kind of bad that this Genesect is seeing more play, but we'll make do. Well, we'll try and make do, I should say. Side up, Wondrous Patch. What deck is this? That's what I want to know. Fan Rotom with a Wondrous Patch? Huh? Okay. Fan Call. Are you grabbing Duns, maybe? Yeah, Duns and Baneri. Okay. Dunsparce, Baneri, and a Pass. Interesting archetype we've got going on here. Ugh, that's pretty bad. Right, well, I might have to just bench the bear just in case we can, you know, attack with it, but still, I ain't got any fires, Joe. You might want to address that. We'll thin the Psychic, it's fine. Because I can go Fire in Hand, Psychic to the Bloodmoon, Golden Flame to 1. Because like I said, we can't use Trolley. Attach the Bloodmoon and pass. Oh, this is bad. Like, if they have Energy Megalopony, they just bonk at Meowth. And like I said, we can't use Trolley because of this thing. So, I'd rather just set up the Bloodmoon because then we can at least use an attack, at the very least. And they won't be able to KO Bloodmoon in a single attack. That's sort of my thought process anyway. But yeah, not having access to Trolley, that's gonna suck this whole game. But that's why I'm preparing the Bloodmoon, because then at least, if they come up with a Megalopony, I can at least do something, you know? Yes, Bloodmoon won't be able to attack the turn after, but their Lopunny isn't going to do much damage. And hopefully we can, you know, retreat the Bloodmoon and maybe do something about it. But yeah, this is a horrible start, especially with the fact that they had the Genesect with the tool. So yeah, it looks to just be Lopunny Dunsparce, which is fine, I would say. And yeah, here comes the Mega Lopunny. So we're about to get bonked on the head for 2 prizes, and there's not a lot I can do about it. Let's see what happens then. Are they going to gust the Bloodmoon? No. They're going to take out the Meowth. Which is actually fine, because, well, I'm not worried. So we'll go into the Bloodmoon. Obviously, Bloodmoon is set up. There's a Bolt, so that's pretty nice to have. I'll attach Fight into the Bloodmoon, and I'll Bloodmoon for 240. I mean, what more choice do I have? You've stopped my Trolley, like... Yeah, you could probably think I could start the Bloodmoon, and maybe we wouldn't have taken a knockout, or he wouldn't have taken a knockout there. But it's like, what do I do after that, you know? Are you kidding me? Wally's Compassion? Bro. Oh, this is horrible. Because you're just going to retreat into a Dunsparce, run away, draw, and then, you know, Gale Frost us again. Okay, apparently he doesn't know that, because he's just run away, drawed. Do you know how the deck works, mate? It's really not that... Like, this is an easy deck to pilot. Oh, now you figured it out. Yeah, I'm just gonna scoop it up. There's nothing I can do. He's denying me my A spec, and he's got Enriching as his A spec. Yeah, I can't do anything there. The fact that we got, you know, immediately, you know, A spec locked, and, you know, I had the choice, start Bloodmoon or start Meowth. The problem is, Bloodmoon's a big fat 3 retreat cost, and I don't know if he's playing any damage mods, so that's just something I have to consider. But still, we'll take that L. That just happens, unfortunately, and we'll go to a game 3. And welcome back to game 3. That was a pretty fun game there again. Well, I say pretty fun, more like a pretty fun slaughter against Megalopony Dunsparce. It's a shame they weren't using my version. My version is quite spicy, with obviously the Lavencia package. You know, like, I get, you know, like, the fact that the Genesect makes a lot of sense, because obviously you normally play AAA Balloon in that list anyway, but yeah, that was horrible. And like I say, even if I did start the Bloodmoon, and obviously got Meowth for a Lillies, there's no guarantee I get my board set up, because obviously, you know, I don't have access to Trolley in that instance. Alright, now that's better. We do start the Wellspring. I will take a Wellspring start. Especially when we have the Water Energy as our opening card. So I will just attach to the Wellspring, and I will pass. I don't need to do anything else. At least not right now, anyway. There's a Hoot. He's got a Fang Call. If this is just standard Terra Box, we should be okay here. Yeah, it's Terra Box. Okay, that's fine. Why has he played a Silent Wing one? That's what I want to know. But that's his choice, I guess. Let's see what he does, because we can just go Crispin, but it's like, do I really want to Crispin? It's like, I mean, I can Crispin for a Fire, but it's like, either way, I'd just be better off, you know, attaching to using Crispin. But it's like, I'd want to Meowth this turn. They're going to attach to the Fan Rotom with a Grass. They're going to try and park a Terra in front of me or something a bit bulkier, maybe. That could be an option. Because then I don't have as much value off a Torrential Pump. There's Ultra Ball. Getting rid of a Water and a Boss. That's fine by me. We'll soon see if this is a proper Terra Box, because, I mean, all the evidence that I've seen... Yeah, Kangaskhan, that makes complete sense. So hold on, you Lillies away the Noctowls you just grabbed. Right, okay. And you've not established a Terra, but that's good for me, I guess. It means I can sob this. So I'm fine with that, because then that means it only takes 4 energy to KO with a Bolt as opposed to 5. So I'm more than happy to do that instead. So I'll play the Meowth. We will use Last Ditch Catch. That's if we've got it in deck. We'll take Petrel, but obviously we're going to do a quick prize check first. We do have Trolley in there. Excellent. That is fine by me. I'd rather do that. So then we'll see if we get Petrel. Grab ourselves the Trolley, because it means I can go into my Kang if I want to, but probably not going to. So I'll take Latias. We'll take Bolt, and I'll take... Have I seriously prized double Ethan's Ho-Oh? Oh my god, we have. This is crazy prizing. In that case, we grab Kangaskhan. That is awful prizing. The fact we prized both our Ethan's Ho-Oh, that is horrible. Jeez, we're really going to struggle for damage output in this game, that's for sure. Because obviously the whole idea of the engine is we establish Ho-Ohs and then we go from there, but both of them are sat in the prize cards. That feels horrible. And he just evolved a Noctowl without a Terra in play. Been there, mate. Don't worry, it's embarrassing, but we all do it. Yeah, I think he's just cottoned on to that. That's funny. I've done it before, mate. I think I've done it at least twice on this channel. So, don't worry, mate. We all do it. It's something that we just forget. But hey, this thing sort of happens, and there's a Pikachu going in the discard. That's what I like to see. You could grab Teal Mask and maybe get some energy set up. So we'll grab another Noctowl. Please don't evolve that one as well. Okay, there's a Clefairy. Crispin, so we can get the attack off with the Clefairy and knock out my Wellspring. But then again, we did sob it, so unless he has a switch card, he can't move this Kangaskhan. And I'm just going to keep sobbing this until I set up my board, because, well, yeah, there we go. Concede from the opponent. I'm glad he conceded, because our prizing was horrible. Yeah, you can now see why I debated to play 3 Ethan's Ho-Oh, but I ended up with 2, just like the original list. Honestly, that could have gone a whole lot worse, but thankfully our opponent heavily misplayed with the Noctowl there, but, well, I've done it before, so I'm not going to judge him, you know. I've done it at least twice on this channel. Anywho, let's go to a game 3. And welcome back. That was a pretty eventful one to see. Our opponent definitely either, you know, like they just forgot. And to be honest, I've done it before. I'm not going to judge my opponent based on that. But the fact that they played Crispin and forgot that I sobbed them was interesting. But well, that's their choice at the end of the day. I don't think they had a switch out, like, you know, like a generic switch or like Surfer or anything like that to obviously get the Kang out the active. Because I could just keep sobbing them, and, you know, I can just set up my board in the meantime, ready to just nuke his entire board. And obviously I can use Wellspring if I eventually get the Kang down to low enough HP. It's like, you know, I do have options. Ooh, now this is actually a bad start. I don't know what you're thinking. Why? Well, Ethan's Hoa specifically states, benched Ethan's Pokemon. This is in the active spot. So, yeah, this could be interesting. Ooh! Oh, no, this is Slowking. Oh, no. I really don't want to see a Slowking. Right, well, this is going to be interesting to say the least. So, I need to Ultra Ball away, probably Fighting and a Boss. Because I need to grab a Meowth, because I need to get my board set up. We've got Wellspring in there as well. Good. Do we have Trolley? Yes, we do. Now, important thing to note about Area 0 is because we don't have a Terror down now, we cannot use the full effect of Area 0. For those that didn't know, because we don't have a Terror down, whilst we're playing Precious Trolley, we only get to bench 4 Pokemon. In case anyone did not know that. It's a very useful thing to know. But I'm going to grab a Wellspring anyway. Because now that the effect has been played out, we now get full bench space. So that's just something to consider. So I'm going to go into my Kang, which is probably a risk, but I don't really have much of a choice. I'll attach here. I'll then run over for 2. There's a Crispin. I mean, that's fine, I think. I'd rather Energy Retrieval that Fighting back and put it on a Bolt, but it's like, I'm going to do it. Feels bad because that's one of our recovery cards, but we'll take it. Let's see what happens then. Because if they have Latias plus, what's his name, Annihilate, we just cry. There's no other word for it, because those that don't know what the Annihilate does, because it has been a while since I've covered Slowking on the channel, it knocks out both active Pokemon, and it's an effect of an attack, so we don't play Mist Energy. So he'd be taking 3 prizes, we'd be taking 1. But he did just get the, what's it called? He did just get the Telepathic Psychic. He's got a Pokepad for a Slowking. Please do not tell me that is that's the Pokemon you have in hand. I will cry if you do. Or even worse, there's a Haxorus that does the similar thing. Haxorus just flat out knocks out a basic Pokemon. I think it's called Axe Blast or something like that. Yeah, that is going to be horrible. But hopefully they whiff. But if they don't, we're in trouble. But what real choice do I have here? You know, I had to get down Meowth to obviously, you know, use the... It's one of those things, I have to do it. So let's see what they do. Because if, oh no, please don't tell me you have it. Because this is going to be horrible if you do. Night Stretcher, Academy at Night. Please not the Annihilate or the Haxorus. The Curum's okay here. It's not great, but I'll take it. Okay. They're going to Academy at Night, put the Curum on top, I assume. Why would you pick Curum? Unless you prized it, then, you know. I mean, it does make your job a little bit easier later, I guess, but, you know. So they're going to hit the Latias and the Meowth, I would suspect. But then what else do you hit? That's my question. We could start summoning them with the Wellspring. Okay, he's going to hit the Latias, Meowth, like I suspected, but also the Ethan's Ho-Oh. Okay, so, see, the problem is here is we don't have multiple fires in here. We don't have multiple fires in hand, because I would actually attack with Ethan's Ho-Oh here, but I don't have a choice to. I'm going to Crispin, because I didn't check water. I can sob them, But it's if they play like Energy Switch is when it feels a little bit rough. So we'll do that. We'll go into the Wellspring. Attach for turn. Energy Switch off the Bolt. I'm not going to use Torrential Pump now. But I'm going to bank this fire onto the Ho-Oh. And then I will sob. I've just got to hope they don't play Energy Switch. I think this is correct, because then if they evolve a Slowking on their bench, I can Torrential Pump this and that. So we're putting more pressure on their resources that way. And we're taking 2 prizes, which is always a positive. The problem is if they get another Slowking with a Kyurem going, and they take 4 prizes, which would be horrible. There's a Wondrous Patch, so the Slowpoke that gets that is immediate priority. Because, well, it's part of their engine, you know, I've got to put some pressure on. But otherwise, I think they're kind of stuck, which is good. We need to buy some time. The Cypher Maniac. That is fine. Because, like I say, if they evolve this into a Slowking, I can take out 2 Slowkings in one go. So I feel pretty fine about that. It's an interesting one. So let's see. They've done the Cypher Maniac, so obviously they can, you know, go into Kang when I take this knockout, with these double knockouts here. But then it's like, they don't really do much afterwards, which is good for me. So let's bank another energy onto the Ho-Oh. And we will Torrential Pump, take out the Slowking, and take out the Slowpoke with the energy. Because that way we put the energy back in deck for more Crispin targets, which is good. So let's take them 2 prize cards. And there's Fez. We're going to need that, because we're probably going to be losing 4 prizes this turn, no matter luck. But obviously they have Kang. They obviously have the Kang draw as well, so they can get the second card that they just got off that Cypher Maniac. So that's at least something. We've just got to hope that we can use Ho-Oh's attack this game to go into, you know, the Slowking and go from there. That's their last Slowpoke. That's good for us. They must have prized one. Or they're only playing a 3-3 line. Which, again, is pretty good for us. And if they leave this Kang in the active, we can obviously smack it with Ho-Oh, heal our entire board, which will be very beneficial. The only thing that the heal won't save is the Meowth. It'll be exactly 110 to, obviously, you know, do its thing and everything. He's got a Cypher Maniac again. Runner for 2. Does he have Wondrous Patch plus the Slowking? He's got the Slowking. There's the Wondrous. Does he have what he needs to do the Slowking attack? He's going to Night Stretcher back a Slowpoke. He's going to bench the Slowpoke. I'm not confident about this. The problem is, like I say, our single prize is not very good in this matchup because, well, we don't really have the option here. And here comes the Slowking. So that means you've got a card that you want to use. And I don't know what it is, but I'm smelling Kyurem. I'm getting a strong whiff. And yep, it is. So he's taking 4 prizes here. Because he could just go bonk, bonk, bonk. And set up the Ho-Oh for game. That is bad. I mean, we do get Fez draw, but obviously we need to get recovered at Latias. I mean, he can even threaten game with Tackle. That's the concerning part. But anyway, we'll bench the Fez. Night Stretcher back to Latias. We do need that free pivot. We'll then flip the script. Ooh, that's not good. I mean, I can attack with the Ho-Oh, but it's like, if they get the attack off, it's like, what do I do after that? Because this only heals 50, so they only need to do a little bit of damage. So I will attach to the Bolt, I'll free retreat into the Ho-Oh, and I'll Shining Feathers 160, take out the Slowking and heal 50. Because now, they at least have to have a reasonable attack to take out the Ho-Oh. And forcing that out of them at the very least. Because the problem is, if I energy switch to the Wellspring, I don't really benefit here. And obviously we don't have access to our water energy right now anyway. So I've just got to hope they don't have it, but they probably do. I mean, like I said, I'm forcing an actual Pokemon attack out of them. But, I mean, it's Slowking. They play like 3 to 4 Night Stretchers plus, you know, Max Rod. So, I'm expecting them to take a KO here. Which I'll deal with, but I'm hoping they don't. There's Telepathic, but obviously we know they've not got any targets left. Oh, apparently they do, but that's fine. Do they have another Wondrous Patch for that Clefairy? Okay, no, that wouldn't apply, because that's good. Like I said, I'm forcing an actual, like, damage mod, or like an actual damage Pokemon out of them at the very least. There's Fez. I think they're digging for it. They're trying to dig for, you know, the Slowpoke and, well, the Slowking, I should say. Let's flip the script. Surely you've got it. There's no way you don't. Slowking plays a lot of recovery. There's no way you haven't got it. And this heal just means that tackle doesn't take a KO. There's Wondrous Patch. You could set up Clefairy. But didn't you already attach for turn? He did. Unless you play Energy Switch, which I very much doubt. But then again, Clefairy can go for game on my Raging Bolt. So I don't really have any options here. But then again, you just left that in the active. I win. You really shouldn't have left the Kang. I'm not beating the paid actor allegations, that's for sure. Why would you leave the Kang? I was on 3 prize cards left. I'm not even going to question that, but I'll take the win anyway. We shouldn't have won that game, but the reason why I went for the Ho-Oh is, like I said, if they had Boss, they could have done something with Tackle and taken out my Ho-Oh for game, and I do not want to fall victim to a Tackle KO. But, yeah, they really shouldn't have left that Kang in the active. They were way too cocky doing that. But honestly, that was really fun. I really enjoyed that game against Slowking. But yeah, we even get to Eternatus rank. I might even try and like finish the ladder before obviously it resets. But obviously when, you know, when this video, you know, comes out, the ladder will reset. So I'm going to take a bit of a break from doing content and all that jazz. Well, I say that, like, I've gotten myself quite far. So when this video actually goes out, I'd have had at least a week and a half off of recording content. Plus, you know, the Creators Cook-Off video would have obviously gone out by then. But anyway. So, what did I think to this deck? This deck was really fun to revisit. I'm so glad that this deck actually did some work. Obviously, Wellspring was mainly carrying us as a team there with, you know, the Cornerstone sitting pretty, but like I said, you could play double Wellspring and plus another Water Energy. You could definitely cut a Fire if you wanted to, cut the Firebreather. You know, there's a lot of ways in which you can expand this list. But obviously the main thing to consider is obviously you do lose draw power when it comes to the Ethan's Ho-Oh package. You don't draw cards, you just get an extra energy in play, which, you know, that can matter. And you don't have to do 2, it can be just 1. And even just 1 a turn is still beneficial because 9 times out of 10 they're not going to target the Ho-Oh unless of course it's something like Slowking, as we saw in that game, where they're going to take on the easier 2 prizes and then obviously try and put some pressure on the Ho-Oh. But obviously Ho-Oh's attack was what made that turn quite important there. I'm not really sure why they left the Kang in the active, but that's their choice. In terms of changes, I think I've covered the changes pretty well, what I would do. The Firebreather is definitely worth cutting. A lot of the time we are playing Crispin, and I think, you know, having to manage potentially playing Firebreather as well, I would rather just play a second copy of Petrel. But at the same time, it's like there are other tech options to consider for this list. In terms of the Power Glass, I think it's fine to keep it, because obviously it's an extra way for us to keep energy around. So I have no issue with a Power Glass. The 3 Area 0, definitely keep at least 2, you could definitely cut 1 down. But other than that, this list was really fun to play. I'm so glad that this deck has still got the bite that it originally had. But anyway, I'm going to leave you to it for today. I really hope you enjoyed seeing Ethan's Bolt in the post-rotation format, and I'll see you next time.